Welcome to Lesson 7.8 edition of Positive and Negative Numbers. Starting out with your joke, what subject is a butterfly's favorite? So what is a butterfly's favorite subject? Well, of course, it's mathematics. Get it? Math. Getting our brains warmed up here for a review from yesterday. -5 is to -7. -5 is to -7. Well, if you remember from yesterday, the number line, the further to the right that you go, it's the larger number. If 0 is here, -5 would be here, and -7 would be here. So -5 is greater than -7. Taking a look at another example, 3/8 is compared to what of -1? Answer should be 3/8 is greater than -1. Remember, whenever you have a positive number and you're comparing it to a negative, the positive number is always going to be bigger. Our last example today for math reflexes, getting our brains warmed up. Which one is greater? Well, I see that this is an improper fraction. It's top heavy, so let's go ahead and figure out what that is first. How many times does 4 go into 8 without going over? If you said 2, you are correct. With 0 left over, keep the sign. So now we have -2 and -2, and they are going to be equal to each other. Today for your lesson, especially for your math journal, you're going to want to grab your Math Master 432. Mrs. Swantek will have it on the back counter available for you. You're going to lightly shade cash cards with a regular pencil and debit cards with a red pencil. It's going to be very useful in helping us learn to add and subtract. Some of you will be able to do it without these cards, and some of you are going to really have to depend on these cards. So make sure you are coloring it the 2 different colors when you get into your math lesson tomorrow. Our mission today, we're going to be looking at adding positive and negative numbers together. We're going to pretend that we are an accountant or a person that takes care of money. We're going to be keeping track of a client's balance of their accounts. An account balance is the current total value of an account. A positive is $1 of cash, so something that's $1 that they have. Whereas negative is $1 of debt or that you owe to somebody. An account balance is said to be in the black when there is more cash in an account than when there are debts. So that'd be like a positive number. A balance in the red is when there are more debts than there are cash in the account. So that's where we get our negative amount. You can think of like red as being an alert, like, oh my goodness, we think about stoplights. They're red. They're telling us to stop. If we see a red amount, that means that we are in the hole and we need to get money into the account. If we're going to take a look at this first example, taking a look at 5 black and 3 red counters, or once you have your credit and debit counters all taken care of, what does this show? Well, if I'm taking a look, I have, sorry about that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black. Remember, blacks are good. They're positive dollars. And we have 3 reds, which are negative. So positive 5, and we're adding to it a -3. What does the account really show? Well, think about if I had $1, but I owed you $1, we're kind of even, so they're going to cancel each other out. So these cancel each other out, they cancel each other out, and they cancel each other out. So what you are left with is 2. Now, black is positive. So positive 5, adding a -3, you're going to get a positive 2 as an answer. Taking a look at another example, if we had 8 red, and remember red is in the hole, it's a negative, so we're having a negative 8, and we're adding on 3 positive. We're trying to figure out what our answer is here. Once again, let's use our debit cards or our counters to help us figure this out. Remember, 1 positive and 1 negative are going to cancel each other out. So a negative and a positive cancel each other out. A negative and a positive cancel each other out. Now we have 5 remaining. 5 red, remember red is negative. So what will happen if the same number of positive and negative counters are added to or removed from Jane's account? So we could think about if I had a 1 red and I added another red, and if I added a black and a black. So the question was asking if we have the same number of positive and negative, we have the same number of positive and negative, what is our account going to be? Well, our account is always going to be 0 because they cancel each other out. All right, Jane has $4 in cash and no debts. So she has a positive 4, and we're going to add on her debts of 0. Okay, what is that going to equal? A positive 4. Now suppose that Jane earns $3 and adds this to her account. So she had a positive 4 and we're adding 3 to her account. So we have $7 now left in her account. Taking a look at another situation, Jane has $8 in cash, so she already has it. That's positive. And she has no debts, so we're adding 0 debts. This is what that situation would look like. But now, taking a look, suppose Jane borrows $5. So she's giving me $5 to help me out. Well, she had $8, and she's going to subtract 5, or you could say she's adding negative $5 to her account. So now she's only going to be left with $3 since she was helping someone. We're going to try to find a rule for adding positive and negative numbers, so hopefully you don't always need to use counters or the credit debit cards. If the add-ins have the same sign, so they're both negative or they're both positive, you're going to add the number parts and then write the sign of the add-ins in front of the sum. So if we're going to take a look at the example that we have here, we have -7 and we're adding -3. Since we have a negative and we're adding a negative, they have the same sign, we are going to just simply add 7 and 3, which is 10. And then we're going to take the sign that is in front of both of them, and they both share the negative, so it's going to be -10. All right, if add-ins have unlike signs, so one is positive and one is negative, so we have a -8 and a +6, then you're going to subtract the smaller from the larger number apart. So we're going to take 8 minus 6 to get 2. And then we're going to write the sign of the add-in with a larger number. So what number is larger, 8 or 6? 8 is larger, so we're going to take that negative sign and put it in front of the 2. And once again, we have +4, -5. So we have to subtract the two numbers first. So 4 minus 5 is 1, and we're going to take the larger sign, and 5 is bigger than 4, and it is a negative, so it's going to be an answer of -1. I have two more examples here I would like you to try to do. Please go ahead and pause the video and work on these two problems. Hopefully you gave yourself some time to work on the problems. We're going to first take a look at -6 plus a +3. Our signs are unalike in this situation, so we need to subtract the smaller number from the larger. So 6 minus 3, which is 3. And then we're going to take the sign of the larger number. Well, 6 is larger and it was negative, so it'll be -3. Looking at another example, -4 plus -5. They are both the same. So they both are negatives, a -4 and a -5. So the rule for this is that you have to add 4 and 5, which is 9, and keep the sign to get -9. Thinking about a number line, if we take a look at our number line, if we were to start for the first one at -6 and we were to add 3 positive, we would go 6, 5, 4, 3, since we have to go in that positive direction, and that is a -3. Our next example, we start out at -4 and we have to add 5 negative to it. So 1, 2, 3, and if I had more room, 4, 5 would get us to -9. Although this may seem as a difficult topic, the more that you practice it, the more that you do it, it's going to come a little bit easier. Really make sure that you are using your credit and debit slips or using counters to represent positive and negative. That will be of great benefit and help to you. And then start to really think about, when I add a positive and a negative, what is that going to look like? If I add 2 negatives or if I add 2 positives. And hopefully you'll start to see those rules come about and you'll really begin to understand it. Best of luck.